So Callie and Travis did something a lot of people dream about. They quit their 9 to 5. That's both of them, both husband and wife, quit the 9 to 5, and each one started their own business. They set their own out. Travis, he gets to surf in the middle of the day, and then Callie picks up the kids whenever she wants. From the outside, looking in, you'd say that they won. But underneath the freedom, something wasn't adding up. They're actually not even sure how much they make. They have $0 invested, and one of them is hustling so hard she can't sit still. Let's start with how Ramit framed the trade-off that they made.
Nonstop.
All right, so you two are hustlers. Would you describe yourselves as that?
I think that I could hustle more.
That's what a hustler would say.
Value my time over my money. I'll put it that way.
I'm just pointing out that you're both basically making minimum wage. You could get a job at any minimum wage place and you'd have health insurance, and
Right.
there's nothing wrong with working at a minimum wage job. I'm asking, is this the decision you both consciously are choosing?
Yes.
It's a good question.
I want to be clear about something. There is legitimately nothing wrong with the life that they chose. Trading money for time, being there for the kids, that can be a beautiful, intentional decision. Ramit even calls that out and he says, hey, good job, guys. But here's where it gets interesting, because when Ramit started pulling on the thread, he found something that wasn't intentional at all. He found that one of them, Callie, was running so hard, so constantly, that she couldn't even take a break after having a baby. And when he asked her why, she said something that cracked open the whole conversation. Let's check it out.
I worked really hard and I saved about $30,000 in order to take a break, but I started working again in about 5 weeks.
Did you need the money? Why'd you do it?
It was a good opportunity.
Can I ask again? Why'd you do it?
I don't know. I do.
Why'd you do it?
I think it just is my way of like proving to myself that I'm worthy. And I know that. And it's a struggle.
So she says, it's my way of proving I'm worthy. Let's sit with that for a second. She didn't actually need the money. She actually saved up 30 grand because she knew that she couldn't work because she needed to rest. And 5 weeks after giving birth, she was back at it. Not because of a bill, not because of an emergency, but because stopping felt bearable. This is what I call worth tied to output. That's something that you learn somewhere early, that you are only valuable when you're producing. And when that happens, rest stops feeling like rest. It feels like exposure, like falling behind, like becoming someone you're afraid to be. So you just keep moving and moving. You take the next job and then the next one. And with Callie, 1 year, she even grew her revenue by 54% in 1 year, but she didn't even take the time to notice that she'd done it. She didn't take the time to celebrate that because she just kept saying yes until she burned out. And here's the part that people really don't pay attention to. This isn't about money. The grind is not about money at all. The money is just where that wound shows up, the wound of worthiness. And to understand the wound, you have to go back. So let's check this out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's a little bit of a mirror happening. So they reinvented themselves even within my childhood a few times. When I was 17, their business took a turn for the worse, and I witnessed them lose cars, lose our house, which was also their business. We lived like within the business. It was like a warehouse. So I watched everything crumble. At 17, what I saw was them lose everything. So the way I always explained it to myself was that they went bankrupt. I'm not sure if they did, but in a matter of a few months, where we lived, the car was all gone. My stepdad left at that time to live a town over, and me and my mom moved into like a little rent house in like the poor part of town. The car that had saved up for, I had been working since I was like 15, became the family car. And I don't blame my mom for it now, but I held a lot of resentment at the time. I got upset because the car that I had worked so hard to buy is now being used by me, her, my brother, everybody. I remember complaining about it, and she said, you're either with this family or against it.
Wow.
Well,
at 17, she watched everything her parents built disappear. The house, the cars, even the car she saved up for herself. It's gone, absorbed into the family. And in that moment, she made a decision, probably without even noticing it. She made it. And it's me against the world now. I will never be in a position where I depend on anyone, and I will produce my way to safety. And what? It worked. She paid for her own car after her family car got used. She paid her way through college. She raised a kid as a single mom with no support. That self-reliance became her identity, her gold star, her proof. But here's what Ramit saw, and what I want to go one layer underneath. The thing that saved her at 17 is the same thing that's keeping her stuck at 36. Because when your worth is built on never needing anyone, you can't build something with someone. You can't rest. You can't zoom out. You can't even dream past this month's financial situation, because the next job is always the thing proving you're still okay. She told Ramit, I have nothing to show for it, just a lot of work. That's the cost of producing your way to safety. You can work your entire life and still feel exactly as unsafe as you did at 17, because the work was never actually about the money. The work was about trying to feel like you were enough. And here's the thing, no amount of hustle, no amount of grind ever feels that. Let's check this out.
That's funny. When you drive an hour, do you think only 1 mile at a time? Where am I going to go the next mile? What's going to happen? What if the car stops? What if I run out of gas? What do you think, Lex?
I put on a podcast and I just cruise.
That's right. I crank up that I Will Teach You to Be Rich podcast. I crank up the I Will Teach You to Be Rich audiobook, and we're cruising. You set an ambitious goal where you want to end up, and you make your plan, whether it's you use your map or whatever, and you go. And you know that if the car breaks down or something happens, you'll navigate your way.
So do you see what Ramit did there? He doesn't lecture her about retirement accounts. He shows her she already knows how to think big. She does it every time she drives across town. She sets a destination, she trusts herself, she listens to her podcast, and then she cruises. She just never pointed that skill at her finances because the wound won't let her look that far ahead. And this is the part that I need you to hear. You do not need a dramatic childhood like the one that Callie had to live this exact pattern. Maybe no one lost a house. Maybe you just absorbed quietly that love had to be earned, that rest had to be deserved, that slowing down and falling behind. And so you produce, you overfunction. You can't sit still on a Sunday without feeling like, am I wasting my time? What am I missing? The person making $50,000, they feel this. And the person making $300,000, they feel this. They might just have a nicer cage because the engine underneath isn't money. It's a nervous system that learned a long time ago, you are what you produce. And until you name that, no amount of income will ever feel like enough. And sometimes the way out doesn't start with more money in your bank account. It starts with one person deciding that they don't have to carry it alone anymore. It's one person saying, hey, I'm gonna do this differently. So let's check out what Callie said.
I was worried about that. Another thing I said to him, which maybe turned a corner, was I'm gonna do this with or without you. And I want to do it with you.
Wow.
And I don't mean that we'd ever be apart, but like, I'm going to save. I'm going to open up a Roth. I'm going to open up a high yield savings account. I'm going to do these things. And I don't want it to be my money. I want it to be our money. I don't want to hoard my money. I want to share our money and dream big.
I don't want it to be my money. I want it to be our money. That's the sound of a wound starting to heal. For her whole life, doing it alone was the proof that she was strong. And here she is, after talking it through with Ramit and her husband, choosing to lean on someone instead. That's not weakness. That's the bravest thing that she said in this whole session that she was in. Because the deepest financial change is in a spreadsheet. It's the moment you realize the thing that kept you safe is now the thing keeping you small. Callie didn't need to learn how to work harder. She didn't need to learn how to save more. She already knew how to do that. And honestly, better than anyone. She had businesses and earned lots of money. She needed to learn that she was already enough. That's before the next job, before the next dollar, before she produced anything else. She needed to know that she was enough. And that's the work that comes before the budget. And that's what we built Talksins to help you find. Talk first. Talksins, making sense of where you are.